G'day everyone. Talk about topsy-turvy, back to front, inside out. I've come into a property that I haven't been on in a while. I usually only come onto this property when the farmer calls me saying they've got a problem fox. So I've come down, and sure enough, on the way in, as you'll see in the footage, there was a fox on the road. Got a real good close-up of him with the Nova. And when I pulled up, I've got into the paddock. I'm focusing on one in the distance that I'm pretty sure was him or her. And another one's come walking across in front of me, and there were a couple of opportunities there where I could have taken a shot, but the auto calibration in the bolt kept playing up on me, so wasn't able to get a shot. I did finally take a shot on that fox, and then it disappeared. The second one that I was inspecting also disappeared, and then another one's came into view that looked like it had a limp. So I've got a funny feeling that might have been the first fox that took a shot on it. It must have been a poor shot because I couldn't find the body. And he's gotten away. I tried to make my way on foot to get a bit closer to it so I could put it down, but I've lost sight of it. I'm assuming it's hiding under a tree somewhere. Anyway, fast forward, I've decided to travel into another paddock, and I've found pigs with the Nova. So I've managed to get in within 50 metres of, there were 4 pigs. I lost sight of one. Got the headshot on the one, managed to get a follow-up shot on one that was running, but I wasn't sure where I hit it. And then what I thought was the one that I'd hit, I've put a headshot on, and as I've gone over to inspect it, there were 2 bodies there. So the running shot must have been lethal. Lung shot, heart shot, I've got no idea. I haven't rolled it over to find out. And then I've seen the 4th pig in the next paddock over, and I have hit it, but I don't think it was going to be a lethal shot to put it down, unfortunately. So I'm only running the 223 tonight. 55 grain ADI World Class Game King soft point rounds. So look, I mean, I'm quite shocked that that second pig went down on the run. So there is a good chance that that 4th pig could be dead, but right now I'm just taking it that I've gotten 3 out of the 4 pigs. So very unexpected tonight. I've come out for foxes and I've stayed for the pigs. So that might even be the title of this video. This video was going to be my final first impression thoughts on the Bolt. I'm going to get to the Nova in another video, so I'm just going to drive up, collect the, I'm just going to move the 3 bodies of the pigs together, and then I'm going to go back to the first paddock, see if I can't get this problem fox that was hanging around, and then I'm going to wrap up the night with my final impressions on the Bolt. So stick around for that. Let's go collect these pigs. There we have them, folks. Piggy 1, Piggy 2 and Piggy 3. They're all very big and fat. The two darker ones there got some nice razor backs on them. And we've got a speckled one there. Anyway, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. Hopefully that 4th one will die off sometime through the night. I'm going to head back towards the homestead now, see if I can't find this fox that I was meant to be shooting tonight. meet up for the evening. I've come back to the first paddock where I had that unconfirmed hit on a fox, and there's no other foxes hanging around here. So I'm probably going to finish up for the night. The ute's getting frost all over it. It's getting very cold and icy now. So yeah, gonna wrap it up. I'll come back out again maybe one night next week and see if I can't get this fox. If it does seem to be hanging about too close in proximity to the farmstead, the homestead, then I may look to get the trap out, set the trap up and see if we can't get this fox in. Anyway, so I just wanted to wrap up this video with my final thoughts on the Nocpix BOLT L35R. Now, for those of you new to the channel, Nocpix has been sponsoring a lot of my content this year. They're supplying me with devices such as the Bolt, the Nova, the Ace, the Quest, and the Lumi. I'm still going to be I'm still going to be 100% honest with you all when I give you my first impressions and final thoughts on the Bolt. So first up, I did have some issues with image quality. I've raised those concerns with Nocpix, and before I got a response from them, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a factory reset on the scope and see if that clears it up. And sure enough, it did. I don't know exactly what was going on, but it seems to have cleared it up. And the image in the scope has been fantastic ever since. Like, I'm very impressed with the image that's in the Bolt. So, look, I don't really know what to compare it to. The last scope that I ran that was a 384 sensor was the Infrared Ricoh RL42, and that was going on 2 years ago now. So apart from like the Lumi, the L35R that I have in the Lumi, that's the only other thing that's a 35mm lens with a 384 sensor in it that I can compare it to. And look, I was pretty happy with the image in that, and I've got to say, look, I'm very happy with the image in the Bolt. So that's a pro. I did have an issue with sighting it in, and it's going to be a bit hard to explain, but I'll put in a little bit of footage here. And I did raise this concern with Nocpix as well. So what I was doing was I used a heat patch on a target, 50 meters, took a shot, then moved using the zeroing settings inside the scope over to where the first shot hit. I've then taken a second shot, more or less on target, and I had to do this twice because when I raised the concern with Nocpix, I had to replicate it. So I've now zoomed in to the maximum magnification after freezing the screen so I could do finer adjustments. And this is where the problem lied. Now, it's got something to do with sensor size, how many sensors are in the device, to the pixel size in the display. But because it is a lower sensor device, those finer adjustments under magnification don't work. When the crosshair moves between different pixels in the display, it is moving, and this is from Nocpix directly, it is moving 0.44 MOA between pixels. So unfortunately with the Bolt, you can't make fine adjustments with the zeroing. But that's not to say you can't refine it. So what I did was sight at 50, and then I took myself back and made shots on a gong at 200 meters, and then I refined under base magnification from there. So yes, look, it's annoying. You can't do fine adjustments, but that's not to say that you can't zero the scope to pretty much right where you want your point of impact to be. And look, I confirmed with shots on target at 200 meters. So yes, this scope is capable of 200 meter shots. I've had great target identification of foxes out to 450, 500 meters. And look, for anyone wondering about whether this scope's good on pigs, look, proof is in the pudding tonight. That was very unexpected. But yeah, look, unfortunately, I can't advise on the ballistics calculator. It's just not something that I've set up to do. And when I say that, it's because I don't have a chronograph to get proper data for how fast the projectiles are traveling. So, look, it's something I would love to get set up with the Ace, particularly running my 22. But I'm not going to do it just yet because I want to play around with getting some new mounts and stuff. And I've got potentially a new 22 coming. So for anyone who took part in that poll on Facebook, thank you for your input. I have made a decision, but I'm going to leave that as a surprise for now until I've got it. All right, so look, wrapping up my final thoughts on the Bolt. Given that it is targeted at an entry level device at $3,500 Australian dollars, it's grown on me. Like I'm not gonna lie, this scope has grown on me quite a bit. I have enjoyed using it the last 2 nights. It has grown on me. Look, if I was going to spend the money on an entry level scope, I would think that yes, I would probably spend the money and buy the Bolt L35R. So look, I don't want to steer anyone wrong. I've been 100% honest with you. I have had issues with this device, but at the end of the day, it's been performing well. I have had a couple of missed shots, and I haven't been able to watch back over the footage just yet. But I will get to it when I put this video together and my previous video. But I'm fairly confident that the shots that I've missed on a couple of foxes last night were just error on my part. So I'll sort of cross that when I get to it. But yeah, look, if you're thinking about the Bolt, look, go into your local store if they've got them, check them out for yourself. I don't think you could go wrong with one. I think it'd be a great first scope. Hell, even for someone who just wants something a little bit cheaper with a laser rangefinder on it, that's been using thermal for a while. Like I said, look, it's grown on me. And look, I haven't been in the thermal game for very long. I've been following it for years. It's something I've been very interested in. So take what I say with a pinch of salt right now. I'm just trying to give you the best advice that I possibly can, and I think you cannot go wrong with the Bolt L35R. The 25, however, I cannot advise on, so don't ask me on that. I can only advise on the L35R. So I hope what I've said maybe answers some questions for you. Like I said, I have had confirmed ranges at longer distances, foxes out to 400, 500 meters, deer at those distances as well. So yes, if you're wondering, can this scope identify a fox beyond 400 meters? Yes, it can. 100% it can. So I hope that clears things up for you. All right, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'm freezing my ass off right now. I'm going to jump back in the ute. I've just got to pack down and get home. And yeah, look, if I happen to see this fox while I'm packing down, it's going to be a scene after this little spiel. But anyway, all right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. You'll see me in the next video, and then the next video I will include my final thoughts and first impressions on the Nova, because I have a little bit more to say about that. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everyone. See you in the next one. Cheers. G'day, everyone. This will hopefully be the video that has my final thoughts and impressions on the Nocpix Nova H35R. Stick around the end of this video. We'll do the final thoughts on the Nocpix Nova H35R. Stick around.